If you're an artist like me, you've probably found yourself asking at some point, how much longer until I make it? One thing that I've really come to learn the hard way, as someone who's been in the game for 11 years now, is that time is not a metric you want to base your success off of. If you've been grinding for 5 years but have no context engine, you're effectively on day one as an artist still. Fortunately for all of us, we're going to break down today the data-driven milestones that actually signal you're moving to the next level as an artist. So let's lock in. What's good, everybody? Great to see you all here, clicking on this video, locking in for some more music marketing knowledge. As always, you're here with me, Evan, aka 3Van, aka your man 3Van. Currently, low-key crashing off of an energy drink, but you know, for y'all, I stay motivated, I stay going, especially if you're new here. Grateful that you're new here and giving this video a check. If you're new here as an artist, this is a sign that you're trying to take your career seriously. So without any further ado, let's help you take your career seriously today. Today's subject, feeling burnt out by how long it's taking you to succeed as an artist. I want to pose a question to you really quickly. Is it actually taking you too long to succeed as an artist? Or are you actually just measuring the success of your artistry with the wrong metrics? Most artists measure their career in years active, but the industry is actually measuring you in data maturity. Today, we're mapping out 3 phases of artist development so you can stop guessing and start auditing. The common misconception of success in the music industry is often characterized by this statement. I've been posting for 2 years now. Why hasn't a label called me? Why is nobody reaching out to me? How come I still feel invisible? The harsh reality of the music industry is this. The industry is not entitled to give you the role of a successful artist and everything that comes with it just because you've been doing it for a long period of time. Look at me, man. 11 years. 11 years, I still don't have a song with 100,000 streams. I still don't have a sold-out show. I'm still not living in a mansion. Like, you think if 11 years had passed, an artist would have all that. But that's not the way it goes anymore. The idea of a next phase isn't really a door that opens. It's a threshold of repeat audience behavior. In our current era, if your data doesn't show that people are coming back to you without an algorithmic nudge, you aren't really stuck. You're just still in the foundation phase, and that's totally fine. It takes time to get out of that phase. As we discussed in the last video, broad surface level marketing often fails because it focuses on vanity metrics like followers, likes, comments, all these sort of things that look good on paper, or in this case, screen, and don't actually represent the true engagement and success of your artist page and your platforms. Deep level strategy and success actually focuses on leverage. You're not really reaching the next phase of your career because you're likely still stuck in a tactics trying to go viral mindset instead of a systems building your microeconomy approach. Time is really only feeling slow to you because your system, or timeline in this case, isn't measuring the true scope of your growth. So what is the timeline that we should be using to measure our growth? What is the measuring stick that accurately depicts what your growth should look like and if you're ahead or behind schedule in terms of reaching certain benchmarks? Phase 1 is something I like to refer to as the proof of concept, which can be characterized as this 0 to 18 month window. The goal of this is to move you as an artist from being just a dreamer to an architect. This is where you master the ugly aesthetic and context clues that we've discussed in previous videos and train the AI to recognize your world. If you were with us for the last video, we talked about building an algorithm-proof content system. This is where you've been able to do this for some time and are starting to reap the benefits of this. You want to get to this point of 10% on your save rate, 10% of your audience being engaged. We've talked about this 100-10-1 rule, where 100 people see your video, 10 people really engage with it, they like it, save it, and 1 person is a charged up super fan. At this point, 1 person might be the one that's engaging with your save rate. That's cool. A lot of people start off with this, but we want to get you from 1 to 10% at this point. It's a lot harder than it seems, but it is doable. If 1,000 people hear your song and 100 save it, then you have a viable product. You have something that's going to start winning. If only 10 people save it though, your world isn't quite sticky enough yet. I'm going to repeat that one more time. You want to get your save rate from being 1% up to 10%. So if 1,000 people hear your song, 100 of them will save it. That's how you know you have a world that's beginning to develop. Phase 1 can really feel like a treadmill because you're currently a high-risk asset to the algorithm. You're not yet proven, you might be confusing a little bit to the algorithm, and because of this, it's not quite sure where to put you yet. The bottleneck that you're running into might look like weak content hooks and inconsistent posting. Until you can really prove that you can retain an audience's attention for more than 3 seconds, the platform will continue to throttle your reach. You're not being ignored, but you're being tested for consistency before you can be pushed out. We discussed this a lot in the previous video, so if you're curious about what it looks like to beat this, feel free to take a quick peek back and look at how we build an algorithm-proof content system. Once we've risen above and have been able to emerge from this phase and get comfortable with it, we reach this scaling velocity phase, this 18 to 36 month window. The goal of the velocity phase is to transition you from being in this passive discovery phase to an active search phase. You've moved from being this sort of kindergarten level to being an emerging artist. Difficult, let me tell you. Actually, this is a pretty difficult thing to actually go through. If you go to your Spotify for artists, you're starting to see search traffic as something that is engaging and leading to more streams. People aren't just stumbling across you, they're actually actively seeking you out now. This is the first sign that you're really starting to generate this real cultural traction. People are looking for you. They're interested in you. Your content is not just being a stagnant moment. It's becoming this lead, this engaging moment in the sales funnel that is your music career. And this is a phase in your career as well too, where you need to really have a brand set in stone. There's no more random branding being used and thrown out because that random branding is going to be what kills your career. If you have 50,000 followers but no real micro niche architecture, then you're going to end up and find out really quickly that you have a leaky bucket. You're gaining fans, but they aren't really sticking around because they don't really know what you stand for as of yet. The benchmark that you want to be able to look for either on TikTok, your Spotify for artists, your distribution, wherever you collect your data, the benchmark you want to be able to look and observe is that 30% of your listeners are returning listeners. They're people that continue to come back. They're people that stay engaged. Remember, it doesn't matter how many you have, but you want to see at least 30% of your listeners as returning listeners. And you don't want them to just be like your friends as well too, because you could have 10 people listening to your music. If 3 of them are your friends, then that's 30% returning listeners, but that's not really accurate because they might just be coming back because you're your friends. You want them to be returning random listeners, people who you don't really have a connection with face-to-face, deep level, but they still feel like your music, your content, your brand image is bringing them value enough to keep on returning. Once you go through these first 2 phases, we reach this phase I like to refer as sovereignty, often achieved after 3 or more years if you're consistent with the last 2 phases. The goal at this point is to build yourself an independent career, with the milestone of this being your floor being higher than your year 1 ceiling was. You start to notice this economic shift in execution and mindset. You stop asking, how do I get more fans? And start asking, how do I provide more value to my 1,000 true fans? How do I give them more? How do I engage them more to get more out of those relationships? I know the wording of it isn't great, but that's the reality of the situation. This is where you move into this deep identity layer of your development as an artist. You become able to prove to others that your success is inevitable. Your success is being communicated by repeatability. Once you reach this phase, you have a release system. You know exactly how much a song will do before it even drops because you've built a predictable audience engine. And obviously with all this, it can be said that as a small artist, you know that you're only going to get 5 streams because you have 5 listeners. We want to be able to do this at a higher level. For example, once we have our 1,000 true fans, we know that we're going to break that 1,000 threshold. We know that we're likely going to make more impressions than just 1,000 off of a release just because of how the algorithm works and how pushing your music and how release radar and all of these sort of algorithm fueled indicators and promotion methods work. In terms of scaling and building all of this up, you want to internalize these 3 mindset shifts before you proceed along this path. The first one being what I call the identity audit. Ask yourself, are you still a dreamer who thinks talent is enough? Or are you a founder that understands the value of data? Your phase is often determined by your mindset, not your follower count. Tangibly, it can be defined by your follower count, but if we go through what we just were going through, we can see that our phase is being measured by the change in this mindset. Another step that you can look at is the retention check. Look at your saves per listener. If this metric isn't growing every month, you're sort of effectively starting over with every new song. You don't have an audience that's coming back and adding your music to their playlists, their library, their whatever else you want to call it, each and every time. If you aren't building the ladder, you're not scaling the mountain. You need to be able to build something that's taking you higher and higher and higher with every release. And this saves per listener metric is something that really calculates this. And as we talked about earlier as well too, we have the search metric that we want to also leverage and use as an indicator of our growth. If less than 20% of your fans are searching for your name, you're still sort of renting your own audience from the algorithm. You haven't really reached the next phase until you own the search bar. You actually have people who are feeling your cultural resonance so strongly that they have to look you up by name just to get your content in front of them. A lot of this is already applicational in nature, but as with all of my videos, we need to ask the age-old question of how do we proceed as artists? If you're tired of waiting to succeed as an artist, stop looking at the clock for the measurement of your success and start looking at the development of your architecture for your success. Here is how you can collapse the timeline and jump from phase 1 to phase 3 within your career. The first actionable step you can take is fix the sticky factor of your artistry. Look at your hooks and audit them. If your save rate is low, your song is fine, but your introduction is failing. Spend the next 30 days testing different hook types. Do some research into the hooks that are keeping people within your microgenre, within your bucket, glued to their screens. Look at the ones that are converting scrollers into savers. Take them and incorporate them into your content. Requires doing some research, it requires looking at some insights. At the end of the day, uniformity is your friend at this point. You want to look at what's working and utilize it to push your unique product in front of people in a way that allows them to see that you're exactly what they're looking for. The second actionable step that you can take is the search engine pivot. Start using the bridge hook. Each piece of your content should end with a reason for somebody to go to a DSP and type in your name. Chances are, if somebody is sticking around for the duration of your piece of short form content, they're interested in learning where they can find you. So end all of your content pieces with search your artist name, song name to hear the full story. Put something like that at the end to call people in, to convert your piece of content for the engaged listeners into a sale funnel. If you look at your TikTok metrics, you'll see that it goes from this point of people watching, dip, 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 but you will still see people hanging around until the end. Those are actually the people you want to target. You want to target the people that are here on your graph just as much as you're targeting the people who are here and watching in the first 5 seconds. The third actionable step that you can take is continue to build your microeconomy, as we've been discussing. Stop trying to reach the million people. Million people is good, but it doesn't really do anything if your content isn't already tried and tested. Focus on reaching 100 people deeply as opposed to 100,000 people with a spray and pray method. Build a direct line of communication for your engaged fans, such as a Discord, a newsletter, email list, SMS texting. Build something that creates a direct pipeline right to your listeners. Once you have a direct connection method, the algorithm timeline no longer applies to you because you have a way to connect with the people who want to see you. You're not tied to the algorithm anymore. And as we discussed in our last video, that's the most liberating thing that you can create, is a system that is independent from the algorithm. To finish this off, you might find yourself asking how much longer as an artist. But if you're asking that question, it's more than likely that you've been working on this for a long period of time. You want to see success come out of this. And that's the right question to be asking. You want your success. I want your success personally. So how much longer it will take you to succeed as an artist will always hinge on how long it takes you to stop being a dreamer and start being an architect. Ask yourself today, are you still a dreamer or are you an architect? Or are you a little bit in the middle of an in-between? Either of those are fine, but you need to know what you are in order to know how to reach the next phase. Let's discuss it in the comments. Tell me, or your other fellow artists who are going to be down there too, where you are as an artist, and see if anybody can help you reach the next phase with things that they've been working on, or with things that they've been applying from this video. That's about everything for this one, as always, guys. Appreciate you guys sticking around. I hope that these tips are helpful as always. Make sure you're taking notes. Make sure you're coming back to the video to apply them. I'm looking into starting to create digital guides for these as well, too, to help you guys sort of process these and do them in a way that allows you to grow and pivot. Stay tuned for those. I'll let you guys know once those are up and ready for you to use. Things like that will help us continue to be all in this together as artists. And yeah, let's just keep on pushing, guys. Appreciate y'all as always. Peace out.